Hey, what's going on, everyone? Listen, we are back, and this is episode number 4 on Activate Your Next Level Mindset podcast. I have the pleasure of interviewing Julie Villumsen. I got it right. Listen, we flow here, but I have had the pleasure of meeting her through a networking event, and I said, listen, you've got to come on this show because the story behind what you do is phenomenal. But before we go there, remember, this podcast is all about Greeley. It's all about building a network, a community, and really bringing in all of our Greeley business owners onto this podcast so that we can get Greeley on the map. And so this is building connection, community, and collaboration. And I just love your spirit. And so I'm just so glad that you're here. We were on a phone call last week, and I'm like, you're sharing the story with me, and I really believe that you need to be on my podcast. She's like, great, let's go. So introduce yourself. Let us know about Mary Kay, why you do Mary Kay, and then we'll just continue diving into conversation.
Well, I wasn't born here, but I was brought up here. I went to high school, college, and then life took me away for 25 years. I was 2 years in California and 23 years on Long Island, New York.
Wow.
Where I was a VP at Catholic Health. I was in charge of fundraising. I was a fundraising executive for about 20 years, raising millions of dollars for mostly healthcare, philanthropy, hospice, home care, and I spent several years at NCMC Foundation. I loved my career until I got to New York because people were very different. I think people know how Weld County is such a giving community. The people here rally around what the community needs.
Yes.
And that was in full force when I was at NCMC Foundation. So while I was in New York, my husband decided to leave me and the kids, and I was kind of trapped in this world. You have to understand, I was kind of brought up in that Dolly Parton 9 to 5, Melanie Griffith, working girl, stigma of, okay, ladies, you got to go out and conquer the man and get that 9 to 5 and get that college degree and climb up the corporate ladder.
She works hard for her money.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, that was not fun. And that was not rewarding. And that was sucking the life out of me. And I wanted to be a good mom. You know, to me, that was the most important job I had, was to raise my kids to be excellent people. And I felt like I was missing out on all of that. So there was this one day where my boss came in and there were all the VPs, and he slammed his hand down on the table and he said, if things around here don't change, half of you are going to be without a job. And I'm like,
Been there.
okay, you are not going to be in control of my destiny. And it was just this feeling that came upon me that I had to do something to figure out how I could meet my goals that I had for my life.
Yeah.
With the number one thing being I wanted to be a good mom. So I was just praying.
Yeah.
I was praying to God every day, Lord, please lead me somewhere, because I felt very pigeonholed into what I had selected as a career. It's like, where do I go from here? For many years, and it was always every time I would come back and visit my family here in Greeley, I would run into a friend that was selling Mary Kay, and they'd say, Julie, you should do Mary Kay. And I'd be like, oh, I'm not doing Mary Kay. I have a career, and I'm a VP, and I've got a staff, and and plus I had the commute and the whole 9 yards. And I was at this event, and on the other side of the room, there was this woman, and she stood up, and she introduced herself as a Mary Kay director, and I was just like, all right.
Okay, Lord.
God is pounding me on the head with a sledgehammer. So I called her the next day. I said, so how do you get into Mary Kay? And she said, will you sign this piece of paper? And I said, okay, I'll sign the paper. And I had never tried the products. I didn't know anything about the company. I didn't know there was such a thing as skincare. I knew nothing. But of course, I thought I was all that because I had risen up the ranks in the 9 to 5. And at that time in my life, I had no self-esteem. I was probably very frumpy. I had nothing going on. I was angry at life, thinking, is this as good as life is going to get? And just feeling really hopeless.
Yeah.
and I was very far away from my family, but I was not going to come back to Greeley with my tail between my legs. Plus, I wanted to stay in New York because the schools are wonderful, and I stayed for the schools for my kids. So I signed the piece of paper, and I very reluctantly started going to the trainings. And I went with my arms closed and sitting in the back of the room thinking everybody was stupid and there's no way people can be this happy, because I thought everybody was miserable like me. And I just watched and I absorbed everything, and I realized that they weren't coming here every week putting on a performance for me. And I would show up at the training center and there would be these cars out in the front with balloons, and I'm like, oh, wow, somebody else won a car. I'd walk in and be like, oh, she won a car? And just that whole thing just blew me away. So after about a year of crossing my arms and being judgmental, and at that time I did not care for women because they were the ones sabotaging me at my job.
Gotcha.
I decided, okay, this is not a scam. This is real. These people are really making this kind of money. The company's really giving away cars to people. And I called my director and I said, how do I have your life?
Wow.
And she said, well, she knew the income I needed to replace. And she said, you need to become a director. And I said, okay, just tell me what I need to do.
Correct.
Because that's my personality style. Just tell me what I need to do and I'll get it done. This is while I was working my 60-hour-a-week job. And while I was still a mom, I became a director. I won my first car, and I picked up my first car on my 40th birthday. But what got into me, I did not get into Mary Kay. Mary Kay got into me. Was the faith first. Our philosophies are faith first, family second, career third. And that really resonated with me.
Right.
And how I saw every week praising women to success, my director wanted me to go ahead of her. Anyone that comes into my unit, go ahead of me, be better than me. That is the philosophy of the company, but that philosophy comes down from Mary Kay because that's the way her mother treated her. You can do it, Mary Kay. And Mary Kay felt that women just lacked self-esteem. I know I did. And the woman I am today is not even close to the type of person I was when I started in Mary Kay 23 years ago. So I have grown. Mary Kay, I say everybody deserves a year in this company just to see the way business should be run. We run it by the golden rule. I treat everyone the way I want to be treated. And my passion is I want women to feel great. And that a lot of times that comes from feeling, oh, wow, my skin looks really good, or wow, I really know how to do my makeup correctly now. And I love teaching women those things. Or if they're looking for a hobby, a part-time career in Mary Kay, or take it all the way like I have and become a director and was able to walk away from my career. There's a place for everyone in this business. And what you put into it, you get back. And I've earned 6 cars, and there's nobody at corporate saying, oh, well, no, she can't because she's too short. Or no, she can't win a car because, she didn't come to corporate and kiss anybody's butt today. They don't know who I am. Yeah. There's 1 million people in Mary Kay in the U.S. They just look at my numbers. Oh, she won a car. Bing, they order it. So that's how it is. Your competition is you. Here, right here.
Yeah.
So if I can motivate women and praise them to grow the giant that's just waiting in there to come out, that's what we're here for as a company, to praise women and let them realize how great they are.
You're making this podcast easy for me.
Okay.
Because normally, we're kind of, they'll stop and then I'll ask another question. But I did not want to stop you simply because of the flow.
Okay.
There's such a good, just the story behind it. with what you're saying is, I wanted to be a good mom. I didn't want to get in the hustle and bustle of the corporate life. However, it kind of grabbed a hold of you for a minute, right? Still being the good mom, still wanting to be that good role model. But at that point, it's like God is showing you Mary Kay, and then Mary Kay. And then you bump into somebody, Mary Kay. You're like, ugh, okay, all right. Let's pump the brakes. I'm going to listen. Here I am. And so since we're on that topic right now, tell us about that transition for somebody right now that may not even be interested in Mary Kay, but they know that God wants them to do something else. I know what that's like for myself, but this podcast is about you. So how did you work through that transition of, I'm here and I know I've got to be here? It's what I call the nowhere between two somewheres. You're somewhere and you know you got to get somewhere, but it's that transition in the middle that causes people to quit, causes people to settle, causes people to get in a place of, well, this is my life and that's it. Talk to us about that transition. How did that work for you? How did you work through that?
Okay, well, you know, if you go out and get another job, they're going to say you have to be here. Like, let's say you go get a job after your job. You work 8 to 10 at night or whatever. That's not going to lead you anywhere. It may give you a little bit more money. But the cool thing about Mary Kay is you can work it into the nooks and crannies of your life. So what I did, and I had people come to my home for their appointments. And so what I was doing to become a director, and direct sales is like any other business. I have a store, and you're just buying it from me. And it's the same thing with a dress shop or any other place.
Right.
And I needed to build a sales team because if there's no sales people, there's no company.
Right.
So, okay, I had to build a sales team, and I had to prove to Mary Kay I could build and lead a sales team before they would let me be a director. So I found a way to get leads. I made an appointment every night of the week, knowing that half of them would cancel, which was fine. And I didn't set myself up for disappointment, only scheduling one a week and thinking, oh, I'm good, I got an appointment, because what if that canceled? Then I would be like, oh my gosh, I didn't do anything this week. So I did that. I was going to my job every day, just saying to myself, I'm working this 9 to 5 while on the side, I'm developing my new life. And I developed my unit. I became a director. I kept growing my unit. And it took me, I want to say 3 years. It wasn't, Mary Kay's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
It's a business. You have to build it like any business. So I kept focus. You have to put blinders on, and that's what they teach us in Mary Kay. Set a goal, and you have to have an end date. And, okay, if you don't hit that end date, well, look at everything you already accomplished and how much you grew your business. Once I was to the point where I could see that I was replacing my income. Now, also, in replacing your income, you have to think about all the things you're not going to pay for because you have a job. I was able to subtract from my expenses all the money I was paying in daycare. And then I had earned that car, so I didn't have a car payment anymore. And so you start subtracting what your life isn't going to cost you anymore. Lunch is out every day of the week while I was at work. Just start adding up how much it costs you to actually have that job. Take it out of your monthly budget, and then you start seeing, okay, this is how much I have to make every month. And when I got to that point, when I was really close to that point, I quit my full-time job. I took a part-time job at a school in the development department. I was just doing the clerical work. I didn't want to be the boss anymore. And I committed for a year, and I kept working and working and working and working. And after that year, I was done, and I've never had a job for anyone else since that day. You just have to put it on pen to paper and figure out how you're going to do it. But you have to have a plan.
Absolutely. I love that, because what I'm hearing is there's a process, there's a progress, there's perseverance, there's a mindset shift.
Yes.
So for those of you who are watching right now, if you're in that space of, I know I'm in that nowhere, it's a process. And I love what you're saying is that Mary Kay is not a get-rich scheme. But no business is. And so we have to get out of this notion. We see it all over social media. People taking a selfie of a yacht and I made this in 6 months. But we don't know the B side of the tape. We don't know the 15 years of that person doing what they do. My last interview, he was like, what you do is like, you do it well. And I'm like, this is 12 years of live streaming. But if he would have saw my first live stream, I'm like, hello, hi, hi. That's all I had. But it's that exercising it daily. It's that moving forward. It's that goal, knowing I know there's something at the end of this.
Right.
I would have never, and you said something about Greeley, about this area, that people unite to build each other up. People unite because I see you, I see Marie, I see all these people. I can't make it to a lot of these networking groups, but I see you guys and I'm like, holy moly, like they are supporting all kinds of different people. And so to segue into where we're even recording this, and I'm saying all of this for a reason, if you're interested in starting a podcast, if you need headshots, if you want to record something, head on over to LINC Library. Get with my man, Joshua Valdez. I've been doing this for about 8 months in this studio. This is Greeley saying, hey, we want to help you build your business. And when all of this transpired, I started looking at this and I'm like, you know, I have a network, but it's not about my network. It's about me networking with more people. And I live on these 3 things: connection, community, collaboration. That's what I stand on every single day. And so being able to come here, again, shameless plug, head on over to LINC. If that's you want to check out what they've got. It's absolutely free. All you need is a library card, and that is absolutely free. This is what Greeley is all about. And I started praying like, okay, Lord, what am I doing here in Greeley? I've been here 4+ years. We moved from Texas. Things happen in Texas. I came here during COVID and it's like, what am I doing here? I would have never thunk a year ago, 2 years ago, hey, there's $1 million studio sitting there waiting for you to introduce other business owners.
What you said I thought was interesting, and this is the same thing I said, was you said you prayed.
Yeah.
And I think faith and praying is the key. That's the number one key.
Yeah.
Because you will be led to your answer. And I think what I want to encourage people to do is, you know, not Mary Kay's not for everybody. I'm just telling you my story.
Yeah.
But find what it is you want to do with your life. Because
Yes.
if you find your passion, you will be rich beyond your wildest dreams, because
Yes.
passion leads you to success.
Absolutely.
And I think for me, it was Mary Kay. For someone else, it could be, I know I could be the best welder in the world. I could be the best carpenter. I could be the best construction manager. You know, whatever your passion is.
The best podcaster.
The best podcaster. Just find what your passion
it.
is, but find a way to get there.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Business owners, real business owners like yourself, will say, hey, this may not be for you, but go find what is. Go find that thing. And so, so is Mary Kay only for women, or?
No, we have men in Mary Kay.
Okay.
And we have a man, I think he's in Florida. He's a national sales director.
Wow.
So one in this country. I think there are a few around the world. We're in 35 countries around the world. But yeah, no, we don't say no to anyone. We have every kind of person you can think of.
That's awesome.
Women with handicaps, women that are blind, women who are in wheelchairs, women who are 18, women who are in their 90s. That we don't say no to anyone, because it takes all kinds of women, or I guess I could say people, to sell skincare to all kinds of people.
Yeah.
So we don't have a type.
I love it. I love it. I'm telling you, this is why I wanted you on the podcast, because there's such a story, and we could go deeper in that story. I would definitely love to have you come back, because there's healing in the atmosphere as well. There's so much richness in just this conversation. So I like to kind of spring like just a impromptu question to my guests sometimes. What would you say is your favorite quote, maybe a favorite book, maybe a favorite scripture in the Bible to encourage somebody today? What's on your heart to share with that person that's ready to either give up or go into their next level?
Well, I quote Mary Kay a lot because she was a woman before her time. And there's some very profound things that have been said to me that made me go, whoa. So one of them, and my son still to this day thanks me for saying this to him, is shy equals broke.
Whew.
And
So good.
yeah. And so when I came into Mary Kay, I wouldn't say I was shy, but I didn't know how to speak. I didn't have confidence. And I didn't know how to talk to women. I would call my director every day and say, what do I say? What am I supposed to say to her? So that is, to me, that is a huge thing to think about because there are a lot of women that come in that are shy. And we grow you out of that. And I think if a woman sits with me and she says, well, I'm too shy, and I say, well, do you want to always be shy? Do you want that to always be who you are? And they say, no, I don't want to be shy. And we can bring you out of that. So that is one thing, one quote that always stuck with me.
I love it.
And the other one is what you think about, you bring about.
Whew, that's good.
What are the tapes playing in your head? If you're always thinking about how broke you are, that's all your brain knows to work on. And that's what your brain will keep giving you.
Yeah.
It's all this subconscious stuff. You have to start thinking abundance. And I could give you 20 examples in my life of what I was, the stinking thinking, and
Yep.
I got it all.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking like that anymore. I'm only thinking about what I want.
Yeah.
And
it's
prayer.
Yes, prayer is the foundation. I love what you're saying about the things that we think about. When we bought our new truck, we had never had a Tacoma. We had a Tundra. And so all of a sudden we're seeing Tundras everywhere. Why? Because you're already thinking about it. And so I just love that. And so just to put this out there, y'all, like we don't serve God strictly for the money, right? She said abundance. The abundance mindset, John 10:10 says, I have come to give life and that life more abundantly. That's everything that's involved. And that's my passion. That's my jam. When you have a kingdom mindset, not a churchy mindset. Church is good. I go to church. I'm part of a church. I build in a men's ministry in the church. But it goes beyond the four walls. It's all about the kingdom mindset. And that's what you will hear me say all across the board, all my socials. We talk about kingdom. And so this conversation has been so rich. I'm just so very thankful. So if you could let us know, how do we get in contact with you? Is there a website, any socials that you want to share with us for our listeners to follow you? However that works, whatever you want to share with us, we would definitely love to know.
Okay, well, I do have a website, but I with the caveat being that only if you're interested in learning more about the company or the products, only contact me if you do not already have a Mary Kay consultant, because we do not steal each other's clients. I don't know if it's something you would put up like a tagline on this video, but it's marykay.com and my first initial J and then my last name, Villumsen, Villumsen. And just, you can contact me through my website. My phone number's there, and there's things you can click on to learn more about the company. And that's a good way to contact me.
I love it. Well, listen, thank you all for tuning in. You're going to follow all of these reels and all of the things, but hit that subscribe, hit that like, share this out with your friends and family. And again, this is Activate Your Next Level Mindset podcast. I am your host, Coach Paul Ibarra, and we'll catch you on the next episode.